12 dice are rolled, what's the probability that the product of the numbers on the top faces is prime? Okay, so here we have a whole lot of numbers. Most of them are going to have to be 1, right? Because if we have two numbers that are not 1 and we multiply them, then we're going to get something that isn't prime. So our choices are, we have to have, how many of the 12 numbers have to equal 1? Anybody tell me? What does it mean to have a success here? The probability that the product of the numbers in the top faces is prime. A success means that we have a prime number and then 11 ones. Because if they're all ones, 1 isn't a prime number. So we have to have a 2, a 3, or a 5 on one of the dice. And then we have to have 1s on all of the other ones. Well, how many ways can that happen? We can have 12 ways to choose which dice is not 1, and then 3 ways to choose whether it's, which prime it is, 2, 3, or 5. So we make a 12-way choice of which one is going to be the prime number, and then we make a 3-way choice of which prime number it is. So that's a total of 36 ways to do it, which is 6 squared. Now, that's 36 good ways to do it. The number of all ways, good and bad, to do it is just 1 out. There are just 6 to the 12 ways to do it, because we have 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 and so on, 12 times, 1 6 for each of the 12 dice. So our denominator is 6 to the 12th ways to select the numbers, and our numerator is 36 good ways to select the numbers. So 36, which is 6 to the 2nd, over 6 to the 12th is 1 over 6 to the 10th. So that's choice E. Okay? So the answer is 1 over 6 to the 10th, 36 possibilities out of 6 to the 12th. Okay, problem 8, I'm going to let you think about for a minute. We have 8 bills in an envelope, and we draw 2 without replacement. What's the probability that the sum is 20 or more? So we could solve this exhaustively, I guess, because the number of ways to choose 2 out of 8 is just 8 times 7 over 2, which is 28. So our denominator is going to be 28. So that rules out choice E already. How many good ways are there to choose 2 bills to get their sum being 20 or more? All right, so let's open up a window here. We've got 1, 1, 5, 5, 10, 10, 20, and 20. And we want to get 2 bills sum greater than or equal to 20. Okay, well, it looks to me like there aren't very many ways to do it, because if we don't have a $20 bill, then we can only do it as 10 plus 10. So that's one way to do it. And if we do have a $20 bill, then the other can be anything. So basically, we can have 20 plus 20. That's one way to do it. And then we have a 20 plus other. Okay, so there's 2 ways to choose the 20. And there's 6 ways to choose the other one. So that means that there are 12 ways to make this double choice. So our final answer is 14 over 8 choose 2, which is 14 over 28, which is a half. We can get a pair of 10s, a pair of 20s, or a 20 and something else. 14 possibilities out of 28. Okay. Here's the more finite probability. 40 slips are placed into a hat, 10 copies of each number, 4 copies of each number, 1 through 10. We draw 4 at random without replacement, and we want to know the chance that we can get all 4 the same, or 2 of one and 2 of the other. So if this were poker, we could get a 4 of a kind or 2 pair. What is the probability? And I guess we really need to have this probability. We want to find a ratio of 2 probabilities. So let's see. So we've got 4 of each. And we choose 4. So if we choose 4 the same, there's 10 ways to do that, because we have to choose which denomination we're going to have 4 of. If we choose 2 of one and 1 of another, well, now we actually have a lot of ways to do it. We have 10 choose 2 ways to choose X and Y, times 4 choose 2 ways to choose the 2 out of 4 X's, times 4 choose 2 ways to choose the 2 out of 4 Y's. So let's think. This is going to be 45, 10 times 9 divided by 2, times 6, times 6. So now we're asked for the ratio of these 2 probabilities. So we don't actually need the denominator. Our denominator is 40 choose 4, but that's the same denominator here. So if we take the ratio of the probabilities, it's just going to be 45 times 6 over 10, which is 9 times 5 times 2 times 3 times 6 over 10, which is canceling 9 times 3 times 6, which is 162. And that is one of the choices.